Hello, fight fans. Seattle Mike, MMA with friends. Everybody, hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Ring that bell if you like everything fighting, MMA, boxing, all that violence. I know y'all are a bunch of sickos. Hey, guys, today I want to talk about 2021. I want to start breaking down divisions and what we can expect in the next year. And the first division I want to break down, I think, is definitely one of the most interesting, and that's the Featherweight Division. Champion Alexander Volkanovski, of course, for years, this division was ruled by kingpin Max Holloway. Before that, it was Jose Aldo. Now you have a new face in there. Alexander Volkanovski. A lot of people thought he lost the second fight to Max in the rematch. I did score the fight for Max. I don't know if it was the most egregious decision ever, but I thought Max definitely won it. That's neither here nor there. It looks like Alexander Volkanovski's first defense of the year is most likely going to be Brian Ortega, a fighter who looked exponentially better than he did when he challenged Max Holloway not so long ago. But there are so many killers in this division. And speaking of that, let's go to Max Holloway. He could be champion again at any time. Like I said, I thought he beat Volkanovski the last time. But when you look at records, Max Holloway's lost 3 of his last 4 fights. Yes, that's probably a deceptive stat. One of those was against Dustin Poirier for the interim lightweight championship when he moved up for 1 fight. But he's got a challenger in front of him against Calvin Kattar coming up. That's a tough fight. Calvin, he's right there. Yeah, Rodriguez, he's always in the mix. Sung Jung, even though he has lost, 3 fights in the last year and a half or so, is all the top contenders. I think he could get back in there, or if somebody fell through, he could definitely get thrown in as a replacement for a championship fight and end up with the strap around his waist. Here's another stat for how good the featherweight division has been. Jeremy Stephens has lost his last 4 fights in a row. His last win was against Josh Emmett, which seems like eons ago. And remember, there was a lot of controversy, and rightfully so, for some elbows and shots behind the head in that victory against Josh Emmett. Speaking of Josh Emmett, he's won 3 in a row. Unfortunately for Josh, he's actually older than Jeremy Stephens. That was a surprising stat for me. He's 35 years old. Stephens is 34. That's getting up there for these lower weight fighters. Heavyweights can extend their careers into their late 30s, and we've seen, of course, at times even into their early 40s, although it be rare on a championship level. But when you look at this, guys that stand out, Dan Ige, before he fell to Calvin Kattar, I mean, he was looking very good, and, look where he's at now. He's at number 10. I feel like he could beat just about anybody at any given time. His fight against Edson Barboza was tremendous. He defeated Barboza, but Barboza seems to be growing into the division. I don't know if he'll ever challenge for a title. He's at 15 right now, and a lot of people think maybe he's not the same fighter he was years back before he fought Khabib, and I tend to agree with them, maybe a little bit, but when you have that kind of vicious, precise striking, especially those leg kicks, as Edson Barboza. I mean, he could definitely fly up the rankings from 15, way up here. Ryan Hall is an interesting one because we've seen some of him. We know his jiu-jitsu is probably the best in the division. It might be the best in the UFC. He's one of the best jiu-jitsu guys pound for pound probably on the planet. Unfortunately for him, the UFC is a mixed martial arts organization. There's been very few guys that have been able to go really far in modern UFC with just one skill set. Really, the only one I would say is, Damian Maia. And he never captured a championship, although I would argue he definitely had a great career. But Max Holloway and Calvin Kattar, that's going to be on ABC in just 2 weeks from tomorrow, January 16th. So that's a fun one. I think that's a fun one. A lot of people are picking Kattar to win that fight. I think maybe people are sleeping on Max just a bit early. I have Max winning that. I think he's just got too many tools and too much experience. I think Kattar can definitely get there. And I think he's getting better every fight. I think he'll get better most likely from this fight as long as, he doesn't get obliterated like Brian Ortega did. And look, even Brian Ortega got better. He had to go away for a little while. But he got better, and Dana White says he's most likely the next challenger for the belt against Alexander Volkanovski. So who ends up at the top of the division at the end of the year? It could be, a lot of these fighters, and these rankings could be all over the place from where they are right now. One thing I can say, I think with pretty... with certainty, about 90% certainty, I don't think Alexander Volkanovski is going to be the champion at the beginning of 2022. This division is too competitive. I don't think he gets through everyone. I think there's some stylistic matchups for him that are going to be problematic. Maybe I'm incorrect, but at the end of the year, who ends up champion? As long as they're willing to make the third fight with Max, I think it's Max. I think Max takes back over the belt. I think he beats Calvin Kattar on the 16th. Volkanovski versus Ortega, that's a tough one to call because Brian Ortega, he looked so much different in his last fight, so much better. If Ortega beats Volkanovski, then I think you can't argue that Max is automatically the first title shot because of the way that he dominated Ortega. I said he looks like a much better fighter right now, but stylistically, I just don't see him overcoming that gap with Max. If Volkanovski and Max do end up fighting again, I think Max, he was much, much better in that second fight, and he watches tape. He's a real smart guy, and the more times he fights you, the better he is. And if Volkanovski loses to anybody else in the division, I think it's going to be hard to argue that Max isn't their first defense because he had the championship for so long. But what do you guys think? Where do you guys think the UFC Featherweight Division ends at the end of 2021? Who will be champion to begin 2022? All right, guys, I appreciate all your time and I appreciate your comments. As always, I love you. I respect you. And I'll see your fine asses later.